Hello, magical people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Meg Moonbeam, and today I'm going to be sharing about the astrology and my psychic impressions of Jay Z, one of the current hot topics at the moment. And the news just broke this past week from when I'm filming this video on today is Sunday, December 15th, 2024, that I'm filming this video. This past week, news broke that there's allegations against Jay Z having to do with the P. Diddy trial, P. Diddy's accusations as well. Some people coming forward saying that they've experienced allegedly abuse from Jay Z. So we're going to be taking a look at this with the astrology and some of my psychic impressions. And before we get into this video's content, please remember, you guys, to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this to the Meg Moonbeam YouTube and Rumble channels. I've got all my links, all my socials, everything in the description box below. And I have a new 2025 astrology predictions workshop for all 12 signs, an over 10-hour long 4-part workshop that I did a few weeks ago on predictions for 2025 for all the signs. Only $35 USD for an over 10-hour workshop. So you can go check that out in the links below as well. And please drop a comment if you enjoyed this video, if you have anything to share, your own feelings, interpretations, any knowledge that I might not be aware of that I haven't shared in this video that you think is really important. Please put it in the comments below. And I am going to be keeping up with the P. Diddy trial. I want to be doing regular content having to do with the P. Diddy trial as we move into 2025. And even though Jay Z is not P. Diddy, he has to do with this situation. He was a close friend and confidant of P. Diddy, and now we have allegations coming out regarding him as well. So I'm going to be keeping up to date with this trial on a regular basis, because I think a lot is going to be exposed about the entertainment industry, about what's really been going on in the systems and structures of the world. And I think it's very important to get this information out there, just the general information, but also my intuitive and astrological take on it. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and let's bring up the chart of Jay Z. So Jay Z was born December 4th, 1969 at 12:10 a.m. Eastern in New York City, New York State, United States of America. So great, we've got his exact supposed birth time, which I do question sometimes celebrities and famous people's birth information that we have online. But after looking at this chart, I do feel that this is the accurate chart for Jay Z, as you guys are going to see why. Before we even get into his birth chart, and then I'm going to be talking about the current transits that he's got going on for this present time of December 2024 as I'm filming this video, and going into 2025 around the start of the P. Diddy trial in May of 2025. I just got to share with you guys that I energetically feel an aversion to this person, to Beyonce, to the two of them together, to anything having to do with them. And I've kind of always felt that the whole time that I've been aware of Jay Z, which that's going back probably a very long time. I don't even know the first time I ever heard of Jay Z, but just energetically as a psychic medium, I feel averted by their energy. Is that the right way for me to put it? Which lets me know that there's something really weird going on with Beyonce and with Jay Z. Now, I'm going to have to do a whole separate video on Beyonce, okay? But energetically, I'm feeling a strong, yuck. I'm feeling a strong aversion. And it's interesting because a couple weeks ago, I did an Astrology of Hunter Biden video here on my YouTube and Rumble channels. And even though there was some very yucky things that came up, I didn't feel the level of aversion to him that I'm feeling with Beyonce and Jay Z. Now, I am not saying Hunter Biden is an angel. Please don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just recognizing what I'm feeling is like a yuck. Don't want to be around this. I have to look at it as an astrologer. I have to investigate it because it has to do with the whole P. Diddy situation. But there's definitely a dark energy right off the bat. And I also hear intuitively, I'm not buying it. I've been hearing the whole time I've been preparing to do this video today, Spirit saying, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying this story, this narrative about Jay Z, and I also want to say Beyonce together. Their life story, them as a couple, what we've been told about their upbringing, what we've been told about who they are, even their names. That may sound totally crazy, but I feel like there could be a lot of things not actually real about these two that have been brought up in the mainstream as fact. So I'm not buying what the mainstream narrative is selling about Jay Z and Beyonce. And I think that that is going to be revealed over the coming years going into 2026. So very interesting stuff. So let's look at Jay Z's birth chart. Okay. So Jay Z is a sun 11 degrees of Sagittarius, moon 5 degrees Leo, rising 19 degrees of Virgo. And very interesting, when you look at Jay Z's chart right off the bat, he's got almost all of his major placements in the bottom half of the chart, which we call the nighttime part of the astrological chart. There's barely anything in the daytime part of the chart, which is the upper part. The only things in his daytime part of the chart are his south node, which is conjunct his rising. We're going to talk about that. His Saturn and his Chiron, also his black moon Lilith, but only one major planet, Saturn, in the daytime part of the chart. Now, something that I have personally noticed when people have placements that are... Hey guys, sorry, I just had to pause and restart my recording because I noticed something funky with my recording program. Everything is okay, so sorry about that. I was just about to say that I noticed that when someone has most of their placements in the nighttime, bottom half of the chart, this is a nighttime energy. So these are people that tend to be very private, very sensitive, very secretive, and hard to read. Okay, it's very, very interesting that for me as a professional astrologer, I do, astrology readings all the time. And the hardest people for me to read are the people that have most of their placements, like Jay Z has, Bill Gates also has the same thing, in that nighttime bottom half of the chart. It's very hard to, as an astrologer or intuitive, like unwrap the layers, get to the deeper situation of what's actually going on here. So with Jay Z, there is a lot hidden, and this is someone we do not know. I'm getting this so strong. We do not know who this person actually is. Okay. The whole story about this person could be not real, going back from the start of his career. Okay. With most of the placements in the bottom half of the chart, plus he's got Venus in conjunction to Neptune, one of his top aspects, in the sign of Scorpio. Okay, so Neptune has to do with illusions, deception, lie, confusion. In Scorpio, really deep and possibly dark secrets and shadow side of life, tendencies and situations. So this is someone that is very hard to read. They are keeping a lot to themselves. There is a theme of major secrecies, and privacy. Also very interesting that when we look at Jay Z's chart, he's got his sun at the bottom of his chart conjunct something called the IC, which is the bottom point of the astrological chart, the most vulnerable and sensitive point of the chart. And his sun, which is his identity and consciousness, is conjunct that angle. And the south node, which represents our past lives, where we've just come from on our incarnational soul's journey, conjunct his rising. The IC also has to do with the past and can have to do with past lives as well. So these two aspects of sun on the IC, south node on the rising, he is identifying with and playing out situations and themes from his most recent past lives. And unless he's done like real deal self-healing work on himself, which if I'm personally feeling like a huge aversion to this person, he probably hasn't, because there's probably some very weird things that he's involved with, right? This is someone that is playing an identity, a part, a role out from the past. He's very much connected to the past. And it's interesting, pretty much everybody that I've met, that I've either done a reading for or know personally, that has this south node, right, which is this horseshoe looking symbol here on his rising. South node either conjunct the rising, the sun, or the moon. They are like obsessed with different, usually time periods or past lives that they've had, and they actually identify more with other times, other situations than the now present moment. So he's definitely got some sort of identity issue with the sun on his IC, sun in square to his south node on the rising, in conjunction also with all those placements in the bottom half of the chart. And I hear the word intuitively fractured. There's been something fractured with this person and their identity. And I got to be careful here because I'm on the YouTube and the Rumble. So I think you guys might know what I mean when I say fractured. Some of you guys will know some things that someone might have gone through to have maybe possibly a fractured identity or personality potentially, right? So very, very interesting chart. Not a usual chart. Okay, this is a pretty weird freaking chart. Plus, he's got a lot of Pluto Scorpionic influence, okay, which Pluto and Scorpio rules crime, abuse, sexual abuse, secret societies, the dark side of life, the most heaviest parts of life, the darkness, the shadow, right? So things that we keep hidden. There's a huge theme of hiding, right? Secrets. Pluto in the first house, Pluto conjunct his rising, Venus and Neptune in the sign of Scorpio, conjunct with Venus at a critical degree in Scorpio. So he is very Plutonic. He may be involved in crimes, allegedly. He may have huge secrets that are going to be revealed over the coming couple of years, as I'm going to get into his current transits. And when you have major Pluto or Scorpio influence in your chart, which I do, I'm a Scorpio, so shout out to all my Scorpios out there, we can be drawn to the dark side of life, okay? Every Scorpio or everyone with very strong Scorpionic influence in the chart like Jay Z has, we get tested by the darkness, okay? That can be literally through dark arts, black magic, addictions, weird like obsessions that we have, being obsessed with researching crime and the occult and all that stuff. So every Scorpionic kind of influenced person goes through that journey, and it's a test of, are we going to choose to be in the darkness, or are we going to choose to be the Phoenix Scorpio and step into the light? Okay. So astrologically, this is someone that is possibly involved in some very dark practices, okay? And a lot of it revolves around women in his life, with Venus, which represents women or the committed love partner, the wife, conjunct Neptune, okay? So the women in his life bring out these Scorpio Plutonic tests of, is he going to step into the dark side? Is he going to step into the light? There may be nefarious things that he's been involved in with women close to him. We've also got, he has Venus and that Neptune conjunction in square to Pluto. So it's like, wow, the Plutonic influence is off the charts in his chart, okay? Don't mind the pun. So yeah, if you're wondering, Meg, based on Jay Z's birth chart, is this someone that's a good guy or someone that's a bad guy? What I can tell you is there are multiple things astrologically that show a very big potential for being involved in some pretty dark stuff, if you ask me. And again, I have to be mindful of my words on YouTube. I don't like to be, but you guys know we have to do that. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about his current transits. Now I've brought up his current transit chart, and I'm going to bring up first the transit chart for December 15th, the day I'm filming this video, and then we're going to look at the transit chart for May 5th, which is supposedly, as of right now, when the P. Diddy trial is going to start. So we'll see Is he going to be involved in that? What's going to be going on with him during that time? And I forgot to mention as well, you guys, that on October 18th of this year, 2024, I was on the Coco show on the Beyond Mystic Rumble channel, and Coco was asking me some questions about P. Diddy, the P. Diddy trial, and I brought up Jay Z's chart, and I said, I believe that he's going to be exposed as a part of this trial based on his current transits. So I said that before this news broke, the recent breaking news and allegations having to do with Jay Z this December. So at the time of the allegations that have just come out against Jay Z, he has in his transits, transit South Node, so where the South Node is right now, conjunct his moon, almost exact. So that can be, the South Node rules the past, our recent past lives, patterns, programs from them. And the moon also has to do with past lives too. Okay, so this could be people that he has the allegations involved with, past life situations, past life relationships that, interesting, I'm hearing, are seeking justice. I feel like there's people seeking justice against this person, whether they are right or whether they are wrong. There are people that genuinely believe that justice needs to be upheld for this person, okay? And I think it is important to mention, you guys, that right before I filmed this video, I saw that one of the accusers of Jay Z has had some inconsistencies in her story. So that has come out, which looks kind of good for Jay Z. But regardless of whether that person was telling the truth or not, and I'm not saying they weren't telling the truth, it's just come out that there has been inconsistencies in the first alleged victims, basically accounts. Whether or not these people, because as I'm aware, there's a woman and a man that have come forward saying they've experienced sexual abuse by Jay Z. Whether or not these people are telling the truth, okay, based on Jay Z's current transits, as I'm going to be sharing with you guys, this guy isn't going anywhere, and he's very likely to go to court, possibly even go to jail, okay? And based on his astrology, I think he possibly has been involved in some of the things having to do with P. Diddy, some of the things having to do with possibly being in a secret society. Okay, let's just keep it real. You guys know I like to keep it real. Like, Jay Z and Beyonce are very obviously puppets. Okay, they have campaigned for the Clintons, if I'm not mistaken, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris in the recent election. They're one of those puppet celebrities that just does whatever the matrix system that is losing its power wants them to do. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's common sense. Do your own research on that. Okay, they show occult symbols all the time. They do different symbols all the time, occult imagery in their performances, all this stuff. So they are getting exposed over the coming years. So regardless of whether or not the people that have just come forward in December 2024 are telling the truth, this is someone that is going to be a part of this P. Diddy story, a part of, as I predicted in September of 2024, when I talked about in my eclipse workshop, I said we're going to have a huge trial over the coming year in 2025 of celebrities and famous people being exposed for sex scandals. I said that before the whole P. Diddy trial even broke, and that seems to be happening. It shows up in the astrology because we had a new moon solar eclipse in Libra that was conjunct Black Moon Lilith on October 2nd. Libra has to do with the courts, trials. It was at was it at a Leo degree? No, it was like at a Capricorn degree. So having to do with powerful people, and conjunct Black Moon Lilith, which is a placement in astrology that has to do with the dark side of life, sexual affairs. So the astrology is real, you guys. Jay Z, he has gnarly transits right now. South Node conjunct his moon, transit Saturn square his sun, transit Neptune exactly opposite his Pluto. Did I say transit Jupiter opposite his sun? This is a lot of challenging transits at the moment having to do with the malefic planets. Pluto, Saturn, two of the malefic planets. And very interesting, I said a similar thing when I did recently my Astrology of Hunter Biden video and some of my recent content that I do on my channels and the Beyond Mystic channel. A lot of these elite people are having very horrible astrology at the moment, including Kamala Harris. And when you've got malefic planets in adverse, challenging aspect to your chart, there's no escaping. If you've been a bad boy or a bad girl, you are going to get exposed, okay? So Jay Z having these transits, plus in 2025, he's going to be having both eclipse seasons, have an eclipse conjunct his natal Pluto, okay? The planet of our shadow side, secrets, the dark, crime, having to go to court, secrets being revealed, being exposed in his first house of identity. I think he's very much going to be a part of this P. Diddy trial. And if he isn't, for whatever reason, he's very likely going to court and getting exposed. But I think he's going to be a very big part of this P. Diddy trial for sure, and possibly even having to go down, go to jail. It could be that intense. Now, I do have to say, I find it really interesting that in his current transits, he's going to be having a what we call nodal return. Okay, so Jay Z was born with his North Node in Pisces and his South Node in Virgo. And from January 11th, 2025, going until mid-2026, we will have the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. So every 18 years, we have a transit called our nodal return. And the nodes have to do with our fate and our destiny and our life's purpose and what's in alignment for us. And for Jay Z, he's got his North Node 17 degrees of Pisces. Actually, Granddaddy Saturn is conjunct that North Node right now. So really activating it. And Pisces is all about, if you have North Node in Pisces, it's your destiny to step into healing, to step into your spirituality, your creativity, forgiveness, unconditional love, and possibly even self-sacrifice for the higher good of a cause or a situation. So with him having his nodal return, plus right now he's got transit Jupiter conjunct his midheaven, which is the very top part of the chart. That's going to be exact on, I wrote that in my notes. When is that going to be exact? He's going to have transit Jupiter on his midheaven. Just one sec, you guys. April 2025, exact Jupiter on his midheaven. And then for the whole next pretty much year after that, Jupiter transiting over his 10th house of public reputation. Okay, very interesting that usually when transit Jupiter is over the 10th house, we have a positive boost in our public reputation. But at the same time, he's having Neptune opposite his Pluto, Saturn square his Sun, transit Pluto square his Saturn. You can't escape the malefic influences, but there is a potential here astrologically, and this may sound totally crazy for me to say, there is a potential here where maybe he will step into his North Node, wanting to save his soul, wanting to kind of like self-sacrifice himself to, I'm hearing spirits say, save his soul. So there's a potential here that Jay Z, even though astrologically, I think he's been involved in some very nefarious things, and if for whatever reason he himself hasn't, that's definitely been around him. Maybe he's going to speak out to try to save himself because he knows that the boat is sinking with all these, dark people, these dark arts people and secret society. So there is a potential here for that. And it's interesting because I also said that for Hunter Biden last week based on some of his transits. So, let me bring up actually the chart for May 5th, 2025, that transit chart for him. And let me know in the comments, you guys, what you think so far about what I'm sharing for Jay Z. And I do appreciate if there is any really big information that I'm not aware of with Jay Z or the P. Diddy trial, put it in the comments below because I am going to be keeping up to date with this, and I want to give you guys some really good informed content on this whole trial situation. So we were looking at the transit chart for December. Now I've brought up the transit chart for May 5th, 2025, okay? And Before May, we're going to have our first eclipse season of 2025. May 14th, we're going to have a full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, 27 degrees. We're going to have also a new moon eclipse, last eclipse in Aries at 9 degrees on March 29th. The March 14th eclipse in Virgo is conjunct his rising, which represents his identity and how he's publicly seen. So he's definitely going to be in the spotlight since he's a public figure. And this is a full moon eclipse, which has to do with karmic endings, karmic undoings, completion, letting go, release. So this is the start of, and we're already seeing it right now, the end of his identity as we've known it. Okay. Now, many of us know that a lot of these celebrities are not actually who they say they are, right? There's many people out there that may look at Jay Z like, oh my God, this is such a cool rapper person. Wow, I wish I was him, right? That identity is dying, as we're seeing with P. Diddy, as we're seeing with a lot of these celebrities and elite people. So there's a death going on of his identity. And that March 14th eclipse also conjunct his Pluto. Okay. So secrets being revealed, having to do with his identity, having to do with who he truly is, possibly crime, possibly having to be sentenced to go to jail. Okay, this is some pretty gnarly astrology if you've been involved in nefarious practices. This is like no freaking joke. Then when we go to the September eclipse season, the September 7th full moon eclipse, Pisces 15 degrees, the September 21st eclipse in Virgo, 27 degrees, 29 degrees. Sorry, you guys, I'm messing up all my numbers here. Virgo, 29 degrees eclipse, September 21st, also conjunct his Pluto. So both eclipse seasons have an eclipse conjunct his Pluto, the ruler of Scorpio, the dark side of life, secrets. I know I keep repeating myself, but guys, this is freaking intense. And, you know, a lot of people born around 1969, late 1960s, early 1970s will have a similar Pluto placement to Jay Z, but he's got his Pluto in his first house, an angular house, so it's a stronger influence than a lot of the other houses, and conjunct his rising, his identity, who he is and how he's publicly being seen. Also, around the start of this P. Diddy trial, which he'll possibly be involved in. Okay, so the date that we have right now, May 5th, 2025, as of right now, is supposedly when this trial is going to start. Again, I'm going to use the word gnarly. This is freaking gnarly for Jay Z. He's got transit Venus, the planet of love and beauty and pleasure. And committed relationships also has to do with law and the courts and lawyers. In his 7th house of Libra, the courts, lawyers, people in our lives, others. Conjunct Neptune, dissolving, illusions, deceptions, lies, and conjunct Saturn. In his 7th house of the courts and other people and contracts, conjunct his natal Chiron, his greatest wounds in this lifetime. So there's a potential as we go into 2025 that this is someone that with that Neptune-Saturn conjunction on his Chiron, he might have like a breakdown. And I'm not wishing that upon anyone. I'm just reading the astrology. This is someone that is possibly going to go through a dark night of the soul, some sort of breakdown, relationship breakup, issues with lawyers, issues with the courts, their traumas and their most sensitive issues being revealed in a potential court situation. Okay, so that is pretty intense stuff if you ask me. And as we get further into 2025, around the start of this P. Diddy trial, transit Pluto will be, 3 degrees of Aquarius by that point, in an almost exact square to his natal Saturn in his 8th house. Oh my God. 2 of the most intense malefics in square in his 8th house, his Saturn. So this is no joke. We're going to find out the truth about Jay Z. There is no doubt about it in 2025, possibly going into 2026. I think that the P. Diddy trial will be a long one because it's going to start taking place while the planet Pluto is retrograde, moving backwards. So I think there's going to be a lot from the past, a lot of different people, a lot of different situations, a lot of different accusations that are going to be brought forward having to do with this situation with P. Diddy, with Jay Z, with their associates, the people that they're surrounding them with. And I think it's very important for those of us interested in the truth of humanity and what the heck's really been going on, to be aware of this trial, because it's going to expose a lot of people that many people have been looking up to. It's going to be buck wild. So stay tuned on my channels. That's definitely going to be one of the themes for 2025 that I'm going to be focusing on with my content. And what else did I want to share? Also, around the start of that P. Diddy trial, we're going to be having a full moon, 22 degrees of Scorpio, on May 12th, 2025, which is going to be conjunct Jay Z's natal Neptune and Venus. Okay, so there's some markers showing there's some sort of relationship ending for Jay Z in May of 2025. Some sort of important relationship or tie or contract ending for him around that period, and him possibly really being even more exposed during that period. So, wow, how interesting is it that a lot of these really famous kind of elite people are going through some very intense astrology. I've been talking about this lately with Kamala Harris, with Justin Trudeau, with Hunter Biden, with Jay Z. So I'm going to be continuing to share with you guys this series on my channels, astrological investigations of people, places, and things that are hot topics. That's what I've got for you guys for today on Jay Z. Drop a comment. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I do offer astrology readings, courses, and workshops that are available at the links in the description box below. And I do have a PayPal tip jar in the link below if you'd like to buy me a coffee, send me a little tip. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I love you guys so much. And let me know who you'd like me to look into in the future. And wishing you all an absolutely magical day. 2025 is going to be wild. Love you guys. Bye.